increasingly steers your thoughts, and I know what it's like to long for revenge. What would happen? Today, I can still see myself traveling through Upper Bavaria to visit a man who worked as a camp doctor in Auschwitz, where I lost my family and my childhood. He was a colleague of Dr. Mengele's, the man who humiliated and abused me, who forced me to look death in the eyes. Have I already mentioned that I know how hate feels? Oh, do I? So I am driven through Raushausen, a picturesque village in Allgäu, surrounded by meadows and mountains, with a Baroque church with an onion tower, around which the village spreads to the edge of an alpine lake. Around 2,000 people live here, and I still remember my unease, my anger, fury at the world and at the Germans in particular. The word forgiveness didn't exist in my vocabulary. It wasn't even remotely in my mind. Even the idea of actually meeting a Nazi from Auschwitz was crazy. I became more and more nervous with each kilometer. Beforehand, I had seen all kinds of documentaries, anything I could get my hands on, and this man, Dr. Hans Munch, was a typical Nazi. Tall, stately, as one would say. Even as an 82-year-old, he looked a little like Laurence Olivier in The Marathon Man. I was afraid of him. But there was no turning back now. Despite my sleeplessness, my scruples, despite all my reservations that the whole trip would end in tears, I had to find out about the viruses or bacteria that my sister and I had been injected with. Miriam had just died the previous year because the doctors had been defeated by her uncommon side effects, so I had to meet this former Nazi doctor. Because I have a rule. If I agree to do something, then I follow through with it. I honor my word. I also wanted to find out what went through this man's mind. How could he have worked in the camp? How could he live with the atrocities? How could he continue living after Auschwitz? A nice house, I remember, surrounded by a well-tended garden, and Dr. Munch opened the front door with a friendly smile and shook my hand. I wasn't expecting that. In my mind, this man was an arrogant Nazi who was, oh, so generously granting me, a poor survivor, an audience. But he wasn't that way. In my mind, Germans were serious. No one would smile. I expected to see a monster, SS Untersturmführer Hans Munch, camp doctor in Auschwitz, Hitler's henchman in humanity's worst crime. But he is nice. A polite old gentleman with a white beard. At the same time, a frenetic TV team is circling us. They want to document my visit, and there are several camera operators and sound technicians, which creates a bizarre backdrop to this intimate moment. A Dutch producer who continually worries that if I ask something critical, Dr. Munch will suddenly break off the meeting. A cameraman complains about the poor lighting. At the same time, the Nazi doctor continues to bring me cushions multiple times, and all of that doesn't add up with my plan. The previous night had been a sleepless one. I lose control. "Why are you bringing me so many pillows?" I ask. "I want to make sure that you are comfortable," Dr. Munch answers. A Nazi who cares about me sitting comfortably. It makes no sense to me. I am afraid about suddenly losing my voice when I start the interview. I am so incredibly unprepared. So I begin by asking stupid questions, a little small talk, with a doctor from Auschwitz who saw thousands of people die. But there is no alternative.